Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the TexAgs High School Football Show, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Academy has all your high school football road trip needs this season. Get the right gear for the long season with free curbside pickup today at Academy Sports and Outdoors. All right, everybody, welcome back to the TexAgs High School Football Show. Ryan Brauninger and Jason Howell joining you as we get into the thick of the Texas high school football season. It's mid-September. It has not cooled down one bit. I think if you're watching this on Thursday, the highs, at least in Bryan College Station, are going to be north of 100. So it'll be another hot weekend for Jason Howell and I on the Texas high school football scene. We are going to start. It'll be quick today, a little bit more to the point. We got some stuff here in the studio that needs to be filmed right after us. But so quick and to the point, Jason, take me back through your weekend and some stuff that stood out.
Well, I was at Denton Ryan, Saginaw on Thursday night, 56-0. And Ryan had their starters out to start the second half. Anthony Hill had a big 51-yard run, put together several highlights. You might want to check those out. He was what a 5-star should look like, and they made relatively quick work of Saginaw. Moved to 2-1 on the season, 2-0 in district play. And then on Friday night, I was in Waco on my way down to the A&M Miami game. So stopped off to see Connolly and China Spring. And Connolly was without quarterback and standout athlete Jelani McDonald. So kind of took a little punch away from Waco Connolly there. But Kobe Black, had some miscues on special teams that were a bit costly, and look good in coverage though, and had some big plays on offense. Had a big first down reception to set up the first touchdown, and had a big touchdown in the, I don't want to say it's a third or fourth quarter, but the player of the game in that one I thought was Kiefer Sibley, 2024 running back athlete. Had 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 55-yard touchdown pass to Black. So even though Connolly went down, I thought he stood out to me. Him and Trey Hafford from China Spring, both had really nice games. And then if I want to. Do we want to go into other scores or anything?
Sure. We can stay in Dallas. Yeah. I mean, I got some teams I want to ask you about, but the last week, we should say last week was a big off week for a lot of teams around the state. I think last week, and there's another week, like week 7 maybe, or week 8, it's another big bye week for a lot of teams. So the slate of games wasn't as numerous last week as it typically would be.
No, and so there were several teams. Westlake was off last week. You had quite a few. I want to say 3 or 4 A&M commits were off last week. But I guess other scores of note: Geyer with the big win over Prosper, 23-6, controlling it pretty much the whole way. The one that jumped out to me was Lancaster, 74-7 over McKinney North team. That's been pretty solid this year. But they bounced back. Lancaster bounced back after that loss to Geyer to show that they've got what it takes to do some big time damage. And then Longview with a 56-7 win over Lufkin in a game we were both looking at in East Texas, and I think it was Walker. Walker was at South Oak Cliff Parish Episcopal.
That was one I definitely wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
Sock almost nearly started off 0-4.
Well, and I predicted they would. So I mean, that's a big win at Parish Episcopal. Them scoring points has been hard for South Oak Cliff for a number of reasons. A lot of it's been the quality of competition they've been playing, but they hadn't found a lot of rhythm on offense, and to see them go in to Parish Episcopal and do what they did, that's a huge win for the Golden Bears.
Yeah. So last Thursday I started at Legacy Stadium in Katy to see Katy Pato against Katy Maid Creek. Pato pulls away there in the end, and really a dominant defensive performance, as you're going to see a lot whenever you go cover a Katy Pato game. DJ Hicks was fantastic. A&M commit Damian Sanford had a 78-yard kind of a pick six. It was a bad snap, and they were trying to throw a little swing pass to the running back. He steps in front of it and returns it all the way for a touchdown. And that was really a huge swing in momentum. At the time, it was 21-7. Made Creek was going in to score, and that's a 14-point flip right there, and the game never got back competitive after that moment. But we talked a lot about the Pato front seven and DJ Hicks and Damian Sanford and Alex Kilgore and Logan Thomas and Jara Anderson, and then you got C.J. Johnson on the back end and Cortez Hunter and Dejon Petaway at corner. I mean, they are a loaded defense. I mean, those are all college players that I just mentioned. A bunch of them are Power 5 players, and it's Pato's got some work to do to figure out the offense. It seems like it's coming around a little bit, but it's going to be really tough to score on them all year. But I did like what I saw out of 2025 kind of safety athlete at Mady Creek, Zaylen Cormier. Really kind of promising player to kind of put a pin in there for Coach Jensen and the Rams. On Friday, did a little small-town football. Headed down to East Bernard and saw the Shiner Comanches come in, and it was the Dalton Brooks show. I mean, I think it was 16 carries, 14 carries, 163 yards, 3 touchdowns, 21 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble. It was getting to the point, Jason, where I couldn't tweet videos between plays because the next play was going to be another tackle or another big play from Dalton Brooks. I believe the final score was Shiner 56, Shiner 49, East Bernard 7. The Comanches look like they're getting ready to roll back to AT&T Stadium and defend back-to-back state titles there, and with Dalton Brooks right there at the forefront of that. And man, it's hard when you go watch small school kids, right? You go back to Rashad Paul at Bremont or any of those. We're going to see it with Terry Bussey at Timpson, right?
Last year Jared Kerr, I know he was out, but the year before that, there at Lexington, that was,
So when you go watch small school kids, it's like, all right, how good is he compared to the competition? And they need to play well. Like if you're going to be a national top 100 kid, when you're playing small school football, you should stand out. And Dalton Brooks, it was pretty evident from the time I walked into the stadium. The East Bernard student section was chanting at him every time that the play would get close to them, and it was pretty interesting to watch kind of his interaction.
Did they finally give up at the end? Was there like an
no? They were asking him to shoot gigums to him and all this kind of stuff.
Okay, good.
And then got to talk to the Shiner head coach Daniel Bedeker afterward, and he went on and on about just kind of what kind of player Dalton Brooks has been for this program, but also kind of his influence on the younger guys. So Shiner looks like they're getting ready to march right back up there to Arlington in the state final. So this week, Jason, where you at?
I am looking at Tyler High at McKinney North. See a little Derek McFall, 2024 running back. Tyler High. He's playing a little bit of quarterback too right now for the Lions. So it should be fun to watch him do his thing. And then on Friday night, let's get the Bowens in action. Go out to see Denton Geyer at Little Elm.
Yeah, and Little Elm's got some younger guys that you were mentioning on the phone. Kind of interesting.
They've got some guys, a couple of DBs that are headed to some P5, FBS schools, and they always have a few guys, but it's going to be a tough night for them. I think it's
going to be a tough night.
Geyer
anybody playing Geyer right now, where they're rolling. So on Thursday, I'm headed to the beautiful Spring Branch, Texas, and watch Smithson Valley take on New Braunfels Canyon in a really highly contested. Apparently, it's a big rivalry out there in the Hill Country. I love going to Smithson Valley's field. I don't know if you've ever been. I've told you
it's beautiful,
setting right there in the hills, and they've got a big house on top of a hill that's kind of across the gulf or the gully there, and so it's a really nice setting for a game. Get to see Colton Thomas and get to speak with Freddie DuBose, who we know is out, but kind of get his thoughts on some of the recruiting stuff that's happening. The Braunfels Canyon's got a really nice 2024 quarterback in Deuce Adams, so should be a good game. Should be a fun game there.
Both Deuce and his brother.
Yeah,
so,
sure. And Friday, I'm going to stay the night somewhere out there in the Hill Country, and then Friday I'll go over and check out Lake Travis, Austin Westlake, another huge rivalry there in the state capital. Get to see TJ Shanahan and just the loaded roster that is the Austin Westlake Chaparrals. I know you saw him earlier. He puts on a show. TJ puts on a show every time he plays. It seems like if he knows the cameras are there, he's going to put people in the dirt just so that people can get it on camera and make sure he's getting his just due. Because like we said, TJ thinks he's a little underrated, and he's going up in our rankings for sure.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that.
And then I'm actually going to I'm going to do a Saturday game, and I'm going to be back in Houston on Saturday. I believe it's a noon or 1 o'clock kickoff. A&M doesn't play till 6, so I figure I can work in a high school game. I'm going to go see Fort Bend Marshall take on Port Neches Groves there at Mercer Stadium in Sugar Land. So Port Neches Grove, it's a top 10 matchup. Port Neches Grove and Coach Jeff Joseph, son of Gary Joseph, who's legendary coach at Katy. Jeff Joseph there in his first year at P&G. He's got the Indians in the top 10. And obviously we kind of know what kind of pedigree Fort Bend Marshall brings. So another 3-game week for me. I'm on pace. Hopefully, God willing, I keep up this pace. It'll be the most games that I've ever covered in a year. But it's because I think there's way more in Central Texas for us to do and cover. So anytime that we can get out there on a Thursday or perhaps even a Saturday, I went to the Alamo Dome triple header. It was on a Saturday. It was perfect. So anytime that we can get out there and see multiple games, I think having kids in Central Texas, multiple kids in Central Texas, certainly helps our schedule.
No doubt. And I know I'm trying to hit 2 to 3 games a week, and it's always a pleasure.
And we'll have Walker, our intern, will be. He sent me his list of potential games. He's looking at maybe going up to Dallas and shooting some photos at a couple of places. He mentioned Lake Belton. I told him that'd be a good idea to go see Micah Hudson, who's been just otherworldly so far. Perhaps the most impressive 2024 in the state up to this point. Micah Hudson's been sensational there for the Broncos of Lake Belton. Jason, appreciate you. We got a quick one in. I don't think we missed anything big. We're back on the road this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the TexAgs High School Football Show.